here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right. You are listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk, and yes, I'm your host, Todd Huff. You can email me your thoughts, questions, adoration and praise also accepted. Todd at ToddHuffShow.com. It's good to be here as always. Thank you so much for listening. I want to start today by talking about what's going on, I guess, strategically in our government today. I want to talk about strategically what is happening and what they're really trying to accomplish and how they're trying to do that. So they're trying to change the rules in the Senate without actually changing the rules in the Senate, right? They want to bypass the filibuster, but they don't want to actually change and get rid of the filibuster. They do at the same time. They want to do that, but there's this back and forth, this ebb and flow. They can see the finish line, but they can also see that this is something that is not incredibly popular, and how it will be portrayed by Republicans and conservatives that this is a power grab, because candidly it is. Again, you don't hear about how terrible the filibuster is when Democrats are not in power. In fact, they're often praised. It's a tool, it's an instrument that helps them stop the Republican Party from trampling upon the rights of the minority. I mean, this is so predictable that it's sometimes, candidly, a little bit boring to me. But they're trying to change the rules in the Senate without technically and actually changing the rules in the Senate, though they certainly would be open to changing the rules in the Senate. There's no doubt about that. They certainly would be. They're also trying to advance their agenda under the guise of something that's much less divisive. For example, the legislation that you've seen them pass or try to pass using budget reconciliation is named is commonly referred to as things like COVID relief, a COVID relief package. Forget the fact that the vast majority of the bill had nothing to do whatsoever with COVID relief. That doesn't matter. What matters is that they name it the right thing. They name it something, or they refer to it as something that is acceptable in the minds of the general public. Of course, people want to see relief from COVID in general. And of all things that government has ever provided some sort of relief from at this level, with this sort of, well, nothing's really had this sort of dollars thrown at it in such a short period of time. But the people understand that government caused a lot of this with their reactions to COVID. Now, maybe they believe that those actions were justifiable, these shutdowns and everything else that's been happening. A lot of people do not agree with those sentiments, by the way. But they understand that this was caused, or at least it was fueled to some degree by the reactions of government. And so COVID relief is something that people think like this. Well, you know, the government did shut down businesses. They should probably do something to help those businesses deal with the effects of that. Or COVID caused, whether legitimately caused or was used as an excuse for, is up for debate. And I know some people have different opinions on that, but it's up for debate as to how sincere these actions were. And I think some were, by the way. I think others are strictly insane. It's a tool and an instrument that's being used to wield power over the individuals in a state. And you can look at several states and find this obvious. California maybe being at the front of that list with Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom. Remember when he was keeping people from singing, or trying to keep people from singing songs of worship in church? That seems like an extreme overreach, surely to anyone with even the smallest lick of common sense. But nonetheless, this sort of game is played. Same thing with infrastructure bill. This bill is about America's infrastructure. Who cannot agree? Who cannot find some way of at least accepting the truth that government needs to take care of America's infrastructure? Maybe they're throwing too much money at it. Maybe you would have a question like I do. Didn't we fix America's infrastructure? Or weren't we being told the infrastructure was being fixed numerous times? In fact, I cited a 2015 law that was signed by Obama expressly designed to deal with infrastructure. And it was going to take 5 years, and we're not even through that 5-year period, but yet we've got to fix infrastructure again. It's the same arguments that we heard back in 2015. Here we're hearing those all over again. And the reason is because they advance their agenda. The radical left advances their agenda through disguise. This is not a radically left country. This is still a center-right nation. America is. In fact, if you look at how Americans live their lives, their personal lives, the vast, vast, vast majority of them live personally like conservatives. But for some reason, people have been convinced that the rules and the way that we live our regular lives, somehow there's something magical that happens when it leaves the local community, leaves even the state, and it goes to the national level. Suddenly, government has the power to do things that no one can really explain or understand, that would not work in common everyday life. Because I guess some people think, well, they can print money, so states cannot. So states have to work within the realities of the money available. The federal government can make it up out of thin air. But the problem is with that, and I don't want to get into a whole thing with this, but maybe we will. I don't know, at some point, or maybe I'll touch on it a little bit today. But that's not rooted in truth and reality. Governments cannot just arbitrarily say this is how much wealth has been created. That will cause all sorts of problems, inflation, and I mean it could have all sorts of impact on our economy. You know, money represents something of value that has been created. That's what it's supposed to do. You can't create the thing that represents something without something real behind it. Some people would, of course, use this argument to say that's why we should return to the gold standard. I don't want to get into that discussion, but I'm simply saying, you know, I guess quickly the point would be this. Before money really existed, or when bartering was the way that people dealt with one another, you would have a person, two people, right? They would exchange. I'll provide this for you in exchange for this. Sometimes that would be a product or livestock. Maybe it would be some sort of labor that would improve the homestead or whatever the case may be. And then the person receiving that would, in exchange, trade something else of value to the person providing whatever it was he or she was providing the other individual. Well, the problem became, what happens if you needed something? What happens if you needed, say, help putting a roof on your home, and you had nothing of enough value to justify the labor of the person that would help with the roof? This is just a random example. Or let's say you didn't have something, you didn't have anything that the person who would do the roof wanted in exchange for that. They just didn't need anything that you had. Well, then you couldn't get the roof done. They would not agree to a trade for something that was not of value to them. And so money existed to say, look, I have this money that you can then in turn use for something else. You can trade with someone else. This money that I'm going to give you for fixing my roof, for example, you can then take this and you can use it to buy something else, to trade with someone else. You no longer have to find a trade that's adequate for both parties, as long as you can agree upon what the goods or services provided, what that equals in a monetary value. So then you would make the trade that way. So that really unleash one of the ways that an economy began to really unleash and grow, because now you had some sort of a a tool, money, to make trades more efficiently and for people to be engaged in what we now refer to as commerce, the trading of goods and services and so forth. And but in order for someone to take that money, they have to believe that it has value. It's going to have value to the next person that they take it to. And that the reason and the way that you get to that is by the government that backs that money. Some people would even say whether or not it's tied to the gold standard ultimately. But again, I don't want to go down that road. The point is, am I saying this here? The point is that we live our lives, like financial lives. Even the most liberal among us live their financial lives as though they understand the value of being conservative in their personal economics and their just the personal finances. No one acts like our government does in personal life. They do not do this. But for some reason, when it gets to the federal level, when it gets to the federal government level, we suddenly, not we, you and me, but collectively, people begin to jump off the common sense bandwagon and onto this insane ideology that says the government can make it whatever they want it to make, whatever they want it to be. So that's when, for example, we have government make these dictates and claims that they can create total equality this side of heaven. They can make sure that men and women get paid the same somehow. Again, as I said before, the Democrat Party couldn't even assure their political candidates that they had equal time on the debate stage. Yet they somehow want us to believe that they can make sure that every person is compensated equally by whatever means they believe that even can be measured. You know, they act as though people are not individuals. People are robots. I mean, there might be, again, if you hire people as individuals, there are a series of things that make that person, no one's identical is the point. There's the idea that equal pay for equal work at some point, how do I even measure that? It sounds good, and I don't want to say that I'm arguing against that concept, but what I am saying is that you may find someone that wants to be compensated in other ways. Maybe they say, look, I'll take less money, but I don't want to work as many hours, or, whatever. There's a bazillion possibilities for this. Anyway, the point is that we live our lives, the vast majority of Americans, as conservatives, not necessarily as political conservatives, but as conservatives, people who have sense and reason, people who understand causation, cause and effect, people who understand that money has a particular value and that you just can't arbitrarily make it up and create it out of thin air. It takes work and labor and all sorts of things to create. Government doesn't do that, and yet they've tricked people. That's the point. They've tricked people. They don't come out and make the argument as to why. No one can tell you why these things are supposed to work. They just say the government says so. Janet Yellen says that we should have a minimum tax on corporations around the world. There should be a minimum tax. No one should be below that threshold, because apparently what one country does with corporate taxation could surprisingly affect the rest. And so she says we've got to get a minimum up there because, there's certain things government should be doing, certain amounts of money it should be spending, and it's harmful effectively if one nation is competing with another nation whose taxes are lower and it's taking business base away, their tax base away. They've got to adjust their tax rates to compete, but those tax rates aren't high enough to generate the goods and services needed to be provided by the government. This is the sort of stuff that doesn't fly in the real world, in your personal life, and even in the lives of people who are leftists. But for some reason, when it gets to the federal level, they think something magical takes place. And if the government, who's apparently all powerful, all knowing, all feeling, all sensing, all, just perfect, benevolent, can solve your problems and their problems if we just give them more of our money, more of our liberty, more of ourselves, whatever it is. And people are on board with this, but it's not because of the argument. It's because they're tricked. It's really people. It's not ever presented as let us explain liberalism, because that is simply liberalism is an emotion. That's what it is. It's a feeling. It's not a logical position to take. It's just, I want this fixed, so government do it. And the government happily takes up that responsibility, and the government says, if you vote for me, or people running for office in government say, if you vote for me, I'll fix it. They never fix it, and they never will fix it. I wrote about this. In fact, I normally don't talk specifically about what's in the column that goes out as our newsletter, which is now posted on our website as well, but I am going to a little bit today. So anyway, I want to touch on these things and go through a little bit more of this, and then I want to get to Biden now changing his tune a little bit with Major League Baseball, telling Georgia to smarten up. It's just remarkable to watch some of this nonsense. We have Fauci out there confused about the success of Texas, even though they've opened up, and they've got a bunch of fans at the Rangers game. And we've got Governor Abbott of Texas saying, hey, look, if you're going to try to pass H.R. 1, if you think that's the end of Texas running its elections, you better think again. So all sorts of things in the news. As usual, I've got to take a time out here, a quick time out. We'll come back and continue our conversation. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not better talk. I am your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, Care to Change, and Interior Construction Services by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS, too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable, flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC. Flooded basement, failed sump pump. Water damage happens fast this time of year. For 38 years now, Hayes & Sons has been restoring water damage in Indiana homes and businesses. They'll help you navigate your insurance claim and get your life back on track. So when a water disaster strikes, tell your insurance agent you want Hayes & Sons for your restoration work. Visit hayesondsons.com/Todd for more information. Are your health insurance premiums making you sick? There is a cure. With the Pro-Life Health Plan, your savings could be as much as 60%. The Pro-Life Health Plan allows you to enjoy the freedom of choosing any doctor, any hospital, anywhere. And their enrollment is open year-round. Just give Eric a call at 888-448-5370 or visit them online at isellhealth.com. Better coverage at a better cost.
Hunting, fishing, bows, guns, ammo, safes, and more. The Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood has all the gear you need for your outdoor experience. We have a huge selection of brands that other shops don't carry, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff ready to answer all your outdoor adventure questions. At Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood, you can even hone your archery skills at our indoor shooting range. Find us online at outdoorsmansportshop.com. So get outdoors, but bring the right gear.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Welcome back. By the way, this program is brought to you in part by our friends at Spur of the Moment Creations. They produce homemade, hand-poured candles and melts right here in Fishers, Indiana. And currently they're selling only through their website. COVID has hit a lot of small businesses, and a lot of the events that they would go to sell their merchandise were canceled, postponed, canceled, what have you. And so they've partnered with us, and check them out. SpurOfTheMomentCreations.com. Spur of the Moment, that's singular. Creations is plural. SpurOfTheMomentsCreations.com. Homemade hand-poured candles and melts in Fishers. SpurOfTheMomentCreations.com. Check them out. And also, you can find other advertisers that make this program possible too. SupportOurAdvertisers.com. And I've touched on this before. We're dealing, and we're going to kind of migrate into this with Major League Baseball. But we're dealing with a cancel culture, right? And some people are to the point where they say, you know what, I'm ready. If people are going to engage in, trying to advance the liberal agenda, especially when it's rooted in lies, they're prepared to boycott things. And there's people with all different perspectives. If you say you're a conservative, some folks say, well, I'm going to boycott you because that is just unacceptable. You're a racist, bigot, you're a homophobe, and all of these things. But what we're trying to do at the core is to combat that. Instead of saying let's amp up all of our energy to protest and cancel everything, how about we use the energy in a positive way to help those who help make this program possible? So if you're in the market for any of the things that are provided by our advertisers, I just ask that you humbly give them an opportunity to earn your business. SupportOurAdvertisers.com is where you can do that. Let's get back to what I was talking about here off the top. Off the top of the program, I said that Democrats are trying to change the rules in the Senate without really changing the rules in the Senate. They are trying to advance their agenda under the guise of something that's much less divisive than their actual agenda. And I said that the vast majority of people in this country, this country is a center-right country. It is. If you look across this nation, now you'll find pockets of radical, insane leftists in places like San Francisco, in places like Seattle and Portland, the West Coast, the East Coast. Although there's even a difference between the crazies on the West Coast and the crazies on the East Coast. But you'll find pockets of liberals, radical leftists. I don't just mean modern-day liberals. I mean radical leftists, folks that want to transform this great nation as founded. But there's a huge swath of people across this country that are conservative, even those who are blue-collar or blue dog Democrats. And these folks are not radicals. A lot of Democrats, I think, unfortunately, are single-issue voters. They will hold their nose. It's remarkable to me To be a Republican, you effectively have to be perfect in a lot of ways. And they're not, don't misunderstand me. But to get the votes of some individuals, they hold the Republican Party to a level of perfection. Meanwhile, they'll vote for Democrats and ignore all the crazy stuff. They'll ignore all of that because they'll support the Democrat on one particular issue. For example, we'll say pro-choice. That's what they define themselves as, but pro-abortion. And I don't mean that to be inflammatory. I don't mean that they're for all abortion, but they're for keeping abortion as the law of the land, even though it takes the life of unborn children. And so some folks say, hey, I'm going to support that because that's my single issue. I think that that's reprehensible, but that's where they are. That's just the reality of it. And so, but they'll ignore a lot of these other things. They're not necessarily in favor of stopping America from being a capitalist nation. Or you'll have a Union Democrat who is in favor of the Democrat Party because they've bought into this concept that the Democrat Party is the party of the little man and the Republican Party is the party of the rich. They've bought into this, and they'll ignore all sorts of things. They'll ignore, they're pro-life in many cases. They'll ignore Democrats are pro-choice or pro-abortion. They'll ignore Democrats are anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment. They'll ignore Democrats. I'm talking about the leadership, not rank and file. They'll ignore that Democrats are take your pick, anti-free speech, cancel culture, my way or the highway, kick you off of college campuses for not agreeing and towing the politically correct line. Take your pick. All these crazy things with, fighting for gender pronouns, personal pronouns, and all this sort of stuff. And these folks just say, I vote for Biden because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to join a union or whatever such position that they take. And they'll ignore all of the other stuff. And the Democrats, you got to give it to them. It's not in a sense of that it's moral, but in a sense that it's been effective. It has been effective, and they've been masters at this. But I wrote in my weekly column, which is now posted at our website, toddhuffshow.com. It's under, if you scroll down, there's a couple. There's a header, then there's, I think, in the news, and then there's posts, and I think it's posted down there. And I wrote this week about what the real war, Democrats constantly are fighting a war on something, a cultural war, a war against inequality, a war against poverty, a war against gender inequality, racial inequality. And I'm not saying that I firmly believe that we should treat all people as human beings, but you don't get special rights from being in a certain group of people, which sometimes ends up being the case. So I'm not faulting them for wanting to defend rights for all people, but they believe, and the solutions that they believe always involve government, always, 100% of the time. Always. It always involves more government. It always involves more money. It always costs more than they expect, and it produces less results than they believe it should. And the solution isn't, wow, this didn't work in their minds. The solution is, well, we got to do more. It's obviously not enough. And it never will be enough, my friends. That's the dirty little secret here. The dirty little secret is that government doesn't really want to solve these problems. Government just simply wants you, wants me, wants the voters, the base, to look to them to solve it. Because by looking to them to solve it, they're going to basically cast the ballot for the person who promises this utopia on earth because it sounds so good. And again, it's as we move from the individual to the family to the community to the state, every step up that ladder we take, people feel like there may be something above their ability to understand because there's more factors and things to consider. And when you get to the federal government, or even worse, to the world and how the world operates and so forth, people say, I'm just going to turn it over to the experts. What do I know? And who are the experts? The experts are a bunch of doofuses who run around proclaiming all these things that would not work in the real lives of the people in their local family, community, individual life. But for some reason, people buy into this concept that it will work on a macro level, on the larger level, because it's too sophisticated. They don't believe they're smart enough to understand the intricacies and details of how something works on that massive of a scale. So let's hand it over to the experts and let them solve the problem. But the problem is it never gets fixed, and it never will. They don't want it to. I know this is tough to believe, but they don't want it to. Their number one job, their number one priority is to get elected and reelected. And if that's happening, they don't really care about much of anything else. Now, there's always exceptions to this rule. And I think some people, when they get into politics, have purer intentions. But many of these folks, once they get there, view it exactly as I just described it. And dare I say this, a politician who didn't look at it the way that I just described was our former president, Donald J. Trump. Now, maybe certainly he made mistakes. We all make mistakes. But he wasn't there to create a lifetime position or to stay in D.C. in politics and so forth. He was there to do what he thought he should do. And I would think, like him or hate him and what he was trying to do, you should at least be able to, I guess, applaud that, respect that. But that's not the case. He's painted as a Nazi, totalitarian, when in reality, the people who are seeking to contain or control more power, I should say, are those who are the ones who are crying about him the most currently, who are in positions of power. So I've written more about that on the website. That column goes out, by the way, in our weekly email newsletter, totally free, toddhuffshow.com/subscribe. You can sign up for that if you haven't already. Anyway, we're being misled is the point. We're being manipulated. We're being lied to. We're having games played with us, and these games, unfortunately, work with a lot of people. And the best way to combat that is to communicate truth. The best way about that is to understand truth and to be able to communicate it, because truth is an unstoppable force. It's an unstoppable force. Yes, some people don't want to believe and accept truth. You've heard me say on this program before, the mind will justify what the heart desires. I get all that. But it's still a pretty darn powerful force whenever it is communicated clearly. And that's what I think conservatism does. And that's what I think each and every one of us can do in our own spheres of influence. And that is the way out of this mess. It's the long game. I admit that. Anyway, Oz is dutifully informing me I'm really long in this segment. She would be correct. Quick timeout. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Are you tired of manually opening the gate every time you pull in the drive, especially during the freezing cold, pouring rain, or hot, humid weather? Then Gatekeeper Services has your solution. They offer affordable residential and commercial motorized units for your gated properties. Veteran-owned with over 50 years' experience in motorized gate sales and repairs on any make or model, and with numerous entry control options, Gatekeeper Services takes pride being certified in both automated gate system design and operator installation. Simplify your life today by calling 317-714-4061.
Family owned since 1973, Edwards Equipment at 1375 East Main Street in Danville is ready to meet your equipment needs by selling, renting, and servicing several makes and models of lightweight residential or heavy-duty commercial equipment. We carry and service top-name brands like Ferris, Kubota, Steel, Gravely, Honda Power, Land Pride, and more. Visit edwardstractor.com or call 317-745-6427 to check out our clearance specials today. At Edwards Equipment, we don't just sell you any piece of equipment, we sell you the right piece of equipment.
All your life, you've planned and taken care of the people you love. They always knew you had a plan. Taking care of your final wishes will give them one final gift. Buying your headstones direct through Thomas Monument saves your loved ones additional stress during a difficult time and saves money by cutting out the middleman. Call 317-244-6525 Or go online to thomasmonument.com to understand why families have trusted us since 1962.
Weddings, reunions, business, church, or family retreats, Indiana Paradise Retreat is a hidden gem located right here in central Indiana. With over 11,000 square feet, a theater, gym, sauna, hot tub, pool, stocked lakes, and even an on-site event hangar, we have just the place for your next event. Find us on Airbnb, VRBO, or just search for Indiana Paradise Retreat. We look forward to seeing you soon.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Corin Homes is expanding their 55-plus community. Briar Creek is the only senior manufactured home community in Indianapolis featuring Indiana-built homes. Floor plans and finishes starting at $75,000. Enjoy affordable, low-maintenance lifestyle with the charm of a residential neighborhood. Located minutes from I-465 in Fort Harrison State Park. Corin Homes, family-owned and operated since 1955. Check us out at COHRONhomes.com. Mention the Todd Huff Show and receive a $1,000 discount on your new home.
There's a lot going on in the world today, and with so much going on, it's sometimes hard to maintain balance. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." I'm Pastor Jeff Floyd of the Martinsville First Church of the Nazarene. To experience how life can be better with Jesus, come worship at M1 Church at 10 a.m. this Sunday, 1609 John R. Wooden Drive in Martinsville, or catch our live stream service on Facebook at M1 Church. For more information, visit m1nazarene.org. Have a great day today in Jesus.
Welcome back. Shifting gears a little bit here. You may remember when Biden had this discussion with, I think this is Sage Steele from ESPN, about Major League Baseball relocating their All-Star game from Atlanta now to the predominantly white, 3/4 or maybe 80% white city of Detroit. Or I'm sorry, Denver, not Detroit. Oh, out of the frying pan into the fire for Major League Baseball. Move the All-Star game, move it. Yeah. Show them who's boss. That's right. Stand up for minorities. Move it to Denver. No, wrong city, man. Too white. These folks are insatiable, my friends. Listen to this exchange with Biden and Sage Steele on ESPN. I just want to remind you of this because Biden's now being asked about moving the Masters, the golf tournament hosted in Augusta, Georgia, which doesn't it start tomorrow? I don't know. I think it's this week. Maybe it's not. Here you go. Sage Steele talking with Joe Biden.
Sports and politics cross paths sometimes. That's exactly what happened last week in Major League Baseball. Tony Clark is the executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association. He said he would, quote, look forward to discussing moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta because Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed into law a bill passed by the Republican-led state legislature to overhaul how its state elections are run. So, Mr. President, what do you think about the possibility that baseball decides to move their All-Star game out of Atlanta because of this political issue?
I think today's professional athletes are acting incredibly responsibly. I would strongly support them doing that.
That strongly supports them.
They're leaders. Look at what's happened with the NBA as well. Look at what's happened across the board. The very people who are victimized the most are the people who are the leaders in these various sports.
Yeah, LeBron James is victimized.
This is Jim Crow on steroids, what they're doing in Georgia and 40 other states.
So dishonest.
What is all about? Imagine passing a law saying you cannot provide water.
Give me a break.
For someone
Come on, Biden.
To vote? Can't do that? Come on.
Come on.
Or you're going to close a polling place at 5 o'clock when working people just get off? This is all about keeping working folks and ordinary folks that I grew up with from being able to vote.
If they do decide to move...
Totally. Stop. I'm not going to play that. She continues that. But that's not the truth. We went through this yesterday. This is totally disingenuous. This is totally, I don't know if he knows it or not. He doesn't know what's going on half the time when he has these moments of free. And I do not take pleasure in saying that, but I have to be able to say it because that is, in my estimation, that is the truth. The truth is he doesn't know what he's saying or doing a lot of the time. And they know it as well. They absolutely know it. Now, does he know right now that this is not the truth about the Georgia law? I don't know. But I will say this, even when he was younger and didn't have these issues, he always was a person who would say gaffes. I mean, that's obvious. But when he was able to think more clearly, he absolutely would have misrepresented this legislation. This is not what they are saying about this is just factually incorrect. But it doesn't matter. Sage Steele doesn't raise any questions about it. Whatever he wants to say is fine with her. So, but there's been fallout from this. This didn't play out the way that it should play. In fact, Jen Psaki was saying, hey, baseball is really the one that's made this decision, not us. Yeah, he says he strongly encourages baseball to consider moving their all-star game. They just apparently picked the wrong city. Moving away from a city that's a majority black city into Denver, which is 75 or 80% white. That is the wrong move for today's woke culture. Wrong move, Major League Baseball. So Biden and his team are now saying, well, that's not really our decision. Although you strongly encouraged it here with Sage Steele. Now let's look at how he's changed a little bit, what he's saying about the Masters being moved from Georgia as well. We'll play that on the other side of the break. Sit tight back here in just a minute.
Enrollment in Todd's conservative, not bitter university is now open. For a limited time, save $10 on Todd's first course, A Christian's Guide to Being a Patriot. For more information or to enroll, visit conservativenotbitter.com. Sponsored in part by Workforce Chaplains. Could your business or organization benefit from the services of a professional team of chaplains? Meet the needs of your employees and foster an excellent work environment with Workforce Chaplains. For more information, visit workforcechaplains.com today.
Are you looking for reliable advice on real estate investing? Then you should start listening to the Homeboys. Clint and Scott have over 40 years of real estate investing experience that they use to educate and guide their listeners. Listen and learn from their experiences to maximize your real estate investment strategy. You can find the Homeboys podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or watch them on YouTube. That's the Homeboys podcast. They can show you how to get started and reach your real estate investment goals. I want to get one more season out of my furnace or air conditioner. Have you or someone you know ever made that statement? Economy heating, air conditioning, and plumbing has heard it a lot. Did you know that furnaces and air conditioners are most likely to break down when they're under stress? That means during the hottest and coldest months of the year, like those months quickly approaching us. With winter on the horizon, now is the time to replace that old rickety unit. With 0% financing for up to 72 months and up to $600 in instant rebates, now is the time to buy. Doing great work is Economy's priority, and the satisfaction of their customers is their number one goal, guaranteed. Make your home comfortable this winter. Contact Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing today by calling 317-831-5279 or visit them at economyheatingandair.com.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the healthcare they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Hey Indy, Sid here with Kill a Dent Removal. We specialize in a paint-free repair process known as PDR. Our certified master technicians remove dents and dings of all shapes and sizes, including hail damage, with zero body fillers, zero painting, and zero diminished value. Most repairs are completed the same day, many even while you wait. Check us out at killadentremoval.com, and remember folks, don't paint your car, go PDR.
Our sense of smell stimulates memory and emotion. A scent can seemingly transport us to another place and time. Homemade, hand-poured candles and melts from spur-of-the-moment creations will give your nose the experience the rest of your body is missing during any season of the year. Crackling firewood, fresh-cut grass, Macintosh apple, and even racing fuel are some of their over 200 engaging fragrances. Visit spurofthemomentcreations.com and enter coupon code TODD at checkout to receive 15% off your order today.
Fireplaces can be beautiful and even essential in heating some homes. But did you know they could be dangerous to your family if not properly maintained? Chimneys need to be cleaned and inspected annually. My family and I had Smalling Masonry inspect ours. They are friendly, informative, on time, and helped us use our wood-burning stove more efficiently. Call Christian-owned Smalling Masonry today at 317-903-8121 and mention my name, Todd Huff, for a 15% off chimney inspection and sweep. Biden yesterday, I believe, asked about the Masters being moved. Now, compare and contrast this with what you just heard last segment. It's got a little bit of nuance in it, but Biden's asked about moving the Masters, and this is what he says.
Do you think the Masters golf tournament should be moved out of Georgia?
I think that's up to the Masters. Look,
Pause.
You know,
getting thought together.
It is reassuring to see that for-profit operations and businesses are speaking up about
evil capitalists.
These new Jim Crow laws
are
just antithetical to who we are. There's another side to it, too. The other side to it, too, is when they, in fact, move out of Georgia, the people who need the help the most, people who are making hourly wages, sometimes get hurt the most.
Who would have thought?
I think it's a very tough decision for a corporation to make.
You don't strongly support it?
Or a group to make. But I respect them when they make that judgment, and I support whatever judgment they make. But it's the best way to deal with this is for Georgia and other states to smarten up.
Stop it, Georgia.
Stop it. It's about getting people to vote.
It's about getting people to vote, is what he said there at the end. At least, I mean, look, at least he's not out there now calling for Georgia, the Masters, to move out of the state of Georgia, as he did with Major League Baseball and the All-Star Game. It's like they suddenly realized, surprisingly, if you move the All-Star Game out of the state of Georgia, out of the city of Atlanta, which is a majority black city, move it into a white city in the Mountain West, suddenly it hurt the businesses. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that there would be other repercussions of this woke decision? Who would have thought that? A woke decision based on complete lies, misrepresentations, and demonization of political opponents. This law is not a new version of Jim Crow laws. This is patently ridiculous. It is beyond absurd. It is idiotic. It is moronic. It is inaccurate. It is fake news. Joe Biden up there perpetrating and telling us fake news. Where are the fact checkers on this? Fact checkers don't care when Democrats say things that they think could help them politically. They don't care about that. They just care about counting the lies. How many lies is Biden up to, by the way, since he came into office? By my count, it's 27,000. Why not? 27,304. That's my count. Don't tell me it's not, because it is. And I'm telling you, the entire premise, the entire base, the entire foundation of his ideology is one big, massive lie. Massive lie. It is not rooted in truth. It is not rooted in reality. And neither is this ridiculous answer. Come on. Come on. That's all. That's his go-to line. What is that? Come on. It's about getting people to vote. How about it's about communicating the truth, Joe? How about that for a change? They wouldn't know it if it smacked them up the side of the head. Got to take a break. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Stay on top of the nonsense our colleges are subjecting students to today by listening to Todd's monthly interview series with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of The College Fix. Listen at toddhuffshow.com/college. Brought to you by Apprentice University. With so many societal changes, everyone's talking about apprenticeships and college debt. Businesses seek employees with practical problem-solving skills. Visit apprentice.university to learn about our demanding academics and paid apprenticeships in excess of tuition. No debt, in-demand skills, Christian community.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegee, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee & Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Have you seen the price of custom cabinetry and countertops lately? If you're looking for quality, affordable remodels, call Carriage House Woodworking. Our helpful professionals will walk you through every step of the process. We're offering a free sink base with qualifying purchases. Just enter CHWEINC.com/Todd or call 317-406-3042. Call Carriage House Woodworking. You won't have to spend your kids' inheritance just to upgrade your kitchen.
Our word can't be diluted, because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Not again! There's never any hot water left for my shower. Everyone else gets a nice long soak and I'm left with ice water. I'm calling Commercial Service about their latest offer on tankless water heaters. I can save up to $800 on an installation. No more cold showers for me.
Call the partner you can trust. Call Commercial Service at 812-339-9114 or online at commercialservice.com. Commercial Service. Commercial grade service for your home.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today, providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price. Our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create, on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
Welcome back. So, running out of time here today, but I think in closing, I just want to say that we are at a point. We're at a point where we really are engaged in a battle for truth. Truth is really what this battle is all about. Now that's, I guess, twofold. They lie, the media lies, the left lies about the positions of conservatism, which Biden just did in that last bite. But in addition to that, their philosophy, their ideology is built upon lies. It is. And conservatism is built upon truth, the truth about human nature, the truth about philosophy, the truth about the foundations of this nation, the truth about a lot of things. We have truth on our side. We should not be afraid of these stupid, silly, ridiculous things that they say, no matter how much the woke culture accepts them. I've got to go. SDG. See you tomorrow. Take care.
Are you listening
to purchase waterproof flooring for your home? Did you know it's as easy as typing rnrproducts.com/Todd in your search engine for a great deal on our core tech line? Since 1971, R&R Products has provided brand name products at an affordable price to the listening area. Call 317-745-5794 or go online to rnrproducts.com/Todd. R&R Products. We make your flooring experience easy and affordable.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.